Okay, so we looked at if statements, right? And simple, if this is that, do this. Then we introduced else do this. And we said that the if statement kind of has three parts: the keyword if, the comparison operator, and then your statement. Okay, so that would take care of the if. And then you introduce else. Else means that if what is on top is not true, do what is what below. Then we introduce else if, right? Else if is basically branches. Hello? Else if is basically branches of the if, right? So if you have an if statement, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can anyone hear me? Okay. So else if is basically branches of the if statement, right? So if you have an if statement, you use the else if to create other decision trees or branches of the if statement, which somebody can choose or which can be true or false. And then if none of the if or if else work, then we use the else, saying that if all the above, none of it is true, then print what is below. So the else statement is like the else that you use is kind of like the last option, okay, or the last resort. If everything is not working or if none of the statements above are true, then do this, right? So we took an example, username. I think we started with just username here, right? Username Ansela. Then I asked enter your username. Okay, then if the person entered the username correctly, we would print what? Hello, username, welcome to your account. So that will be Ansela, right? Yeah. So we use that dot lower and that dot lower method to make sure that everything was the same. So that whether the person entered small letters or capital letters, dot lower would convert it. And then, well, you'll be able to compare them accurately. Yeah, so over here, you can see that I used the formatting type. I formatted it in a way that made it easy for me, right? Okay. Now, in this example, we used username and password, or we requested for username and a password. So we had, and then we said if the person gives us a username. So here we used logic operators, right? Where we say if the username is correct and the password is also correct, then say welcome username, right? So it means that if one of them is not correct, it will not be true. Then we created a couple of options there. If username is correct or password is correct, that means if one of them is true, then print wrong username or password. Else print forgot account details. Click here to recover your account. So those conditions is what we did. Then we came to nested if statements, okay? Nested if statements was basically, I gave an example. If you are going to the movies and, sorry. If you wanted to watch a movie, let's say other movies with your family, okay? And you wanted to tell each member what movies they could watch, right? You could, someone who is like 25 and above can watch movies that 18 years can watch, 15 years can watch, and 5 years can watch. But people who are 5 years cannot watch what the older ones can watch. So we needed to create a nested if statement, whereby if age is greater than 5, it should print you can watch Frozen. Now, if age is greater than 5, and if age is what also greater than 15, then you can say you can watch Hulk. Note that because this if is based on the first if, it will print you can watch Frozen, you can watch Hulk, right? For the 15-year-old. when we get to the 18-year-old, it will print you can watch Frozen, you can watch Hulk, and you can watch Squid Game for the 18-year-old. And the 25-year-old, it will print you can watch all these. So it will print you can watch this, you can watch that, you can watch this, you can watch that. So that was basically a nested if statement. And then we have else. That means if none of the conditions above is satisfied, or if just this first condition is not satisfied, then it should print, you should go to bed, no movie for you. Okay. Okay, what is happening in my account? Okay, then we also dealt with, then we did with the past, we dealt with past. If you are writing an if statement, but you don't have the statement yet, let's say you write the condition, okay? In your code, you want to write an if statement for something, but you don't know what you want it to do yet. You can use the keyword pass. Okay, what the keyword pass will do is that it will just, it will prevent it from giving you an error, but it will still not do anything, okay? So if you're writing a code and you're not sure what to write for the statement yet, but you want to still write other programs and still run them, you can put this pass keyword here and that will sort you out. Then we looked at the while loop. We said that a while loop is sort of something that will keep happening until it breaks out of that loop. So we looked at a while loop while a is less than 10. And here we said a is 0. So a is definitely less than 10. So with this, a will continue being what? Less than 10. Hence, it will keep printing ancilla. Hence, this is actually a forever loop because this loop will continue forever. Now, if we want to create a way for it to break out, we need to be changing the parameter of a because it says that while a is less than 10, do this. If there's a way for us to change the parameter of a for every loop, then we could make a slowly become 10. Then once a gets to 10, it will break out of the loop. And that's what we did here. Here we used a plus equal to 1, which is an assignment and an arithmetic operator combined. So we have this is just a is equal to a plus 1, right? So a will keep changing, or a will keep increasing by 1. So this loop will also run until the time when a is equal to 10, and then it will break out. Then we had this a is equal to 5. I think this was the same thing. Print a. Yeah, this was basically the same thing, just that this time we weren't starting from 0, we're starting from 5. So that was that for the while loop. Today we are going to start from for loop, okay? And after for loop, before we go to functions, we'll take a few questions just so that we can appreciate what we have learned so far. Okay. Okay, so let's start. I do have a cold, so I don't know. My voice might not be the same as it used to. Okay, let's proceed. Now, a for loop is basically a repeat loop, okay? It's just like the while loop, but a for loop is specifically a repeat loop. It's used for iterating over a sequence, that is either a list, a tuple, a dictionary, a set, or even a string. You remember that when we're doing strings and when we're doing lists, we got somewhere and I said we will treat this later, right? And that's basically what we are coming to do, okay? So it iterates or it iterates over a list, okay? Not just a list, but the idea is that if you have a certain number of items, it picks the items one by one and it does whatever you want to do to those items, basically. But it repeats the same process over and over again. Okay. So, for example, let's create a list of schools. Let me write the title for loop. So schools. So I'm going to create a list. Okay. So we have the list. Now, if we want to create a for loop for this list, what we write is for X in schools. Okay. Now note that this X is just a counter. Okay. This X is what? Is a counter. It's similar to how, let me see whether we have used a counter somewhere before. No, we haven't used a counter before. It's a counter, meaning that I think we did it somewhere here. Interesting. I thought we did something like this. Okay, so it's a counter, meaning that this is what does the iteration, okay? Or it counts the iteration that it's doing. So for example, the first time it is what? 0. That's Ansela. The second time it is 1. That's our lady. The third time it is what? St. Roses. It's repeating, okay? It's repeating the same process, but it has what? A counter, so X, all right? So in the first instance, it's going to look at Ansela. In the second instance, it's going to look at our lady. Then on we go. So we are going to say print. So it's kind of over here, in a way, it is acting as the index, right? So it will say for item number 1, print item number 1. For item number 2, print item number 2. For item number 3, print item number 3. Hope you get me. So if we say print X, sorry. So in this case, what it's going to do is that it's going to print. Let me run it then. Okay. Let me make sure nothing here. Sorry. Okay. So the first instance, what it did was that it took item number 1, then it printed it. Item number 2, it printed it. Item number 3 printed. So it's just iterating through the loop. Now, if we're supposed to do this thing without the for loop, it would be something like this. Print, right? Sorry. Print schools. Sorry. Please, a second. A second. Okay. Hey, you know, I didn't realize that I put to. Okay, noted, Maxwell. So I'm saying that if we wanted to print this one by one, okay, we would have to do something like this. We will have to print them based on their what their index, right? And then this will print the first item, print the second item, print the third item. But in this case, what's happening is that X is taking care of that. Okay. X is taking care of this, right? And we are saying that for X in schools, so the first loop is this, the second loop is this. So this loop continues, right? And all that is changing is the X. The X is what is counting, 0, 1, get me, 2, 3, right? So that's why we have, let me run this again. Okay. So we have Ansela, this thing and that. Okay. So that's it. So if you want to print the items in a list, this is what you're going to do. Okay. You are going to use the for loop to iterate through that list. Now, the same way, if we have a string, okay, the same concept. If we have a string, let's say school name, let's say school name, sorry, answer. If we have a string, right, we can say the same thing for X in school name, right? Print or X. Note that this school name is just Ansela, okay? You remember I said that with strings, it's treated, the characters are treated as individual items, right? So if I print this, it's going to print ANCILLA, right? It treated it as if it's a list of what characters, right? So that is that, okay? So that's the basic concept of for loop, using a for loop for strings and for lists. That's what I said I will treat when I get to for loop, because for loop is a topic on its own, okay? Now, sometimes you want to use a for loop, but you want to use it for just as a repeat, okay? You are not really iterating through a list or through a string, nothing like that. You just want to do something like for X in range, okay? You want to give it a range. Note that for the first two examples that we did, once there are no more items in it, it breaks out of the loop, okay? But this time we are creating a loop where we tell it how many times it should repeat. So we are saying that for X in range, that means for X from 0 to a certain number, that is 6. Take note that 6, it will not be part of the numbers, okay? I've said this a couple of times. So for X in range, print X, right? So X here, we know that X is just a counter. Okay, so if we are printing X, then it means that we're going to get 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Okay. Now, instead of that, we could do something more useful and not just print numbers, right? We could say for X in range, we are still doing it 6 times. we'll say print maybe our normal hello world. No, let me use Our Lady. Today Our Lady came first. Print Our Lady, right? So we're going to have Our Lady being repeated what? 6 times, basically. Okay. So now a few things you can do with a few changes you can make in this type of program is, for instance, if you don't want the repeat to start from 0, right? You can say something like for x in range, maybe 3 to 9, right? What will happen is that it will start counting from 3. So I'm going to print x so that you see where it starts and where it ends. It starts counting from 3 and it ends at what, 8. As I said, the last number is not inclusive. It's not added to the loop at the end of the day. Now, sometimes you want to print these like numbers, or you want it to iterate, but you want it to be jumping, skipping some intervals. So something like this, for x in range 2, 11, 2. Sorry. What this will do is that it will start from 2, but it will not go to 3. By default, it just moves in 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But this one is going to jump by this factor, right? That is, it's going to skip. So instead of going to 3, it will go to 4. Instead of going to 5, it will go to 6. Instead of 7, it will go to 8. And then it will go to the last number it can go to before what? 11. So you see it here. Sorry, I didn't even tell her what to do. But here we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, right? Because we said start from 2 to 11, but skip every 2, right? That means skip every other number. So from 2, it went to 4. It didn't go to 3, right? Okay. So that's that for understanding loops, okay? There are some deeper things that we'll look at later, but for now, I want us to start answering some questions. I'm really listening about us to start answering some questions. I want to see how you guys will approach questions, okay? Because that is what programming is all about, solving problems. So for some of the things that I haven't treated functions, I still have some things in for loops to treat. I haven't treated functions, libraries, classes, and all that. But we will do that, okay? For now, let's solve some questions. Just in case we don't have enough time, I'll just make sure that all your questions come from what we have done so far. Okay. So I will give a question and then I would like us to solve it, but I don't want to like solve it for you guys straight away. I want you guys to share like your ideas on how you think we can solve it, and then we solve it together, okay? Hope we can do that. So I want to either hear your voice or see a message from you, okay? Let's try that. The first question is going to be very simple. Let me put it here. So we are starting questions. Let me call it programming questions. Okay, so the first question is write a program that will display a joke, right? Write a program that will display a joke. Don't display the punchline until the reader, right, hits the enter key. Okay. Right. So the first question is, we should write a program that would display a joke, right? But we don't want the user to see like the punchline of the joke. Hope you guys understand the punchline. The punchline is basically that thing that makes you laugh. Okay. So don't let the user see the punchline unless the user presses the enter button. Do you get it? Please, do you understand the question? Hello. Do we understand the question? Oh, please, is it a punchline that you don't understand? Hello, is it a punchline? Is it the word punchline? Or is the question itself? Okay, so.
Yes, we understand.
Okay, please, when I say punchline, I'm coming. Let me find a joke. Oh, okay. Let me just find. A second. I want to. I just want to find a joke with punchline. Okay. For example, if I restart, these things are not. Why does an elephant have a trunk? Do you get me? So, like, for example, why does an elephant have a trunk? Right? Then the punchline is because it doesn't have any pockets. Do you get it? It's kind of like a riddle, but it's not a riddle because it's basically supposed to be funny. Okay, that's what we mean by a joke with a punchline. A joke with a punchline is where a joke has a second part which you're supposed to guess, right? And then the punchline is supposed to make you what? Laugh. Okay. For example, why did the bubble gum cross the road? Then someone say, and the punchline is because it was stuck to the chicken's foot. You get it? Then what do you call a fake noodle? Right? The punchline is an impasta. Do you get it? Because pasta is what? Noodle. So an impasta. What type of bee can't make up their mind? A maybe. Please, do you understand it now? Do you understand what I mean by punchline? Okay, sure. So let's use the bee example. What type of bee can't make what? Their mind. Can't make up their mind. A maybe, okay? So in this question, in this problem, it's saying that write a program that would display a joke, okay? Don't display the punchline unless the reader hits what? The enter key, right? Okay, can someone suggest how do you think we'll solve this? How do you think we will create a program that will ask that will say a joke. Okay, we already know how to say stuff. That will produce a joke. And then how do we write a program to then wait for the person to press enter, so that when the person presses enter, it will then print the punchline? Any ideas? Any ideas on how we can do this? This is the simplest question amongst all the questions that you're ever going to do. So please, let's figure this out. So joke is equal to enter your joke. Okay. We are saying the joke. Okay. Nobody's giving us a joke. We are saying the joke. The person needs to press enter to get the punchline of the joke. Do you get me? This is a very good attempt, by the way. But we are the ones saying the joke. Okay. You, the programmer, you programming it, you are saying the joke. You are writing a joke, that you are writing a program that will say the joke. Okay. And then the user or the one listening to the joke has to press enter in order to see the punchline. How are you going to approach it? A good attempt, by the way. I mean, a good attempt. How are we going to approach it?
Hello.
Yeah.
Please, yeah, that is it. I'm trying. Hello.
Yeah. Please go ahead.
So for like, you create your variable like joke equals to maybe, and the value is maybe what is the strongest animal on earth.
Okay.
So then you come print. Print.
Okay. Go on.
Hello.
Yeah. Please, I'm here. I'm listening. I'm listening. Hello. I can hear you. Hello. Okay. So he was saying that joke, right? He was saying that example joke. So let's use the B example. We're saying joke. What type of bee can't make up their mind? Please, what happened to the person who was talking? Was it Maxwell? Or was Our Lady? Was it St. Teresa's or it was Our Lady? Yeah. Okay, it was Our Lady.
It was Our Lady.
Please talk to me. Please finish it.
So yeah, I was saying like maybe you.
So then we should print what? What should we print? You got to print.
Okay. So like joke. So what is the longest? Then that's where the answer comes in.
I think I am lost. After you said we should create a variable and then we should write the joke, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Then what do we do next? What do you think we should do next?
Then there we print joke.
We print joke. Okay.
Joke.
Brilliant. Then what next?
Then the next is we are going to display the answer or.
Okay, so we want to display the answer, but we want the user to be able to press enter before he sees the answer. Do you understand?
Okay, so then we can say maybe answer equals.
Okay.
Equals input.
Input. Okay.
Brackets.
Okay. Okay.
Double quote bracket inside the the bracket.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Input. Maybe enter.
Mm-hmm. You're almost there.
Okay. It seems I'm lost somewhere.
Okay, so let me help you. You're
Okay.
almost there. So basically, we have to say something like press enter to what? To see the punchline. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Because in this case, the person doesn't need to type anything, right? Once the person presses enter, okay, there'll be the enter will be stored in the answer. Do you get me? And then it will just go to the next thing or the next line of code. So then we will have print and maybe. Do you get me? So the joke, you created a variable for the joke, right? Which is called joke, and you printed the joke. So that's the first thing that will appear. Then it will then wait. It will press enter to see the punchline. Then it will wait for the person to what? To just press enter, right? Assuming the person has typed something. When the person presses enter, then it will say maybe. Let's try it so that you see what it is. So what type of bee can't make up their mind? Okay. What type of bee can't make up their mind? Then press enter to see the punchline. Now, if I press enter, sorry. You see, a maybe. Please, you get it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So in this case, whatever is stored in the answer is just an empty string. There's nothing going to be in it. Do you get me? But the input serves as a delay waiting for the user to press something or to press enter. Enter is what sends your input into the variable answer, right? But this time we are not sending anything. We just want the person to press enter and then it goes to the next line of code. Please, you guys. Is anyone lost? Is anyone lost in terms of the question or how we solved it? Anyone? Are we all okay? Okay. Okay, so let's move on to another question, right? So first question is down. You guys did well. Please, I want to hear everyone at least say something, okay? I just want to have an idea of how you guys are thinking, okay? Okay, the second question there, it is up for grasp. It is very simple, okay? Second question. Write a program that will please, this one, send me your answer in the chat, okay? I want to see if everyone will get it because everyone should. Write a program that will ask you your name, right? It will then display hello name, where name is the name you have entered. Did you understand? Write a program that will ask your name. What is your name? And then when you enter the name, it should say hello name, where the name is what you just entered. Please kindly write the solution in the chat and let me see. I want to see everyone's solution. This is pretty simple. I want to see everyone's solution. Our Lady, Saint Teresa's, is it Divine or Divine? Ansela, Adeche, or Adeche? I want to see your solutions, please. Hello. Divine, you are not done. So after the person enters the name, then what else? You have to write the whole program. It should display hello with the name of the person at the end of the day. The program should display hello with the name of the person at the end of the day. Ansela, your hello plus name, there's a slight mistake. The hello plus name, if you put it in your program, you realize that it won't print what you need. Ansela and is it Divine or Divine? Please help me out. Okay. Divine. Okay. It's a person. I thought it was a school's name. Divine. Sure. Okay. Noted. Okay. So I think that most of you are on the right track. Just some few syntax errors here and there, but I think we are all good. I didn't hear from Adeche. I didn't see anything from you guys. So it's simple, right? First name, which I think you all did, then input, enter your name. Then print hello name. Right. So yeah, that's it. You guys did it. Okay. Let's go to the next question. Challenge 3 or problem 3. Write a program to work out the areas of a triangle, of a rectangle, sorry. Write a program that can solve the area of a rectangle. Okay. Collect the width and the height of the rectangle from a user. Okay. So write a program that is supposed to solve the problem of of the area of a rectangle. So it will ask the user for the width and ask the user for the height, and then it will calculate the rectangle. Let me write the question. Please kindly write your solutions. So after you take the area and the height, you calculate the area. Hey, after you take the parameters of the width and the height, you calculate the area and then you display the result, okay? So let's do that quickly. If possible, try to type everything before you send it, okay? So that I don't have to track which school said what at what time. Because different schools bring in their distance, so, okay? Okay, I'm waiting.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Should we paste it on the chat?
Yes,
Panel.
paste it in the chat, okay? Paste a solution in the chat so that I can see. Okay. Well done, Our Lady. Nicely done. Okay, let me just wait for one more input or one more answer. But Our Lady, you guys did it well. Probably next time you can just make it mean more to the user by adding some context in the result. You understand? I'll show you what I mean. But you can make it more presentable. But this is good. I mean, you have solved it. That one, yeah, no doubt. But next time you can make it more presentable. But this is fine. I mean, One more school. One more school. Just drop their listen. Angela. Kindly
We
drop
sent
your
an, we sent an answer.
Okay, but there was no height in yours. There was just enter with.
There's height before the width and then the print.
Ah, yeah. Oh, okay. You see what I was talking about? All right, sure. Okay, so next time just send it as one so that I don't miss it. Thanks. Okay. How did you learn first? Okay, so you've all done it. Nothing much over there. So on a regular day, if you're doing something like that, you can do something like this to make it sorry. I did like the fact that most of you did the directly changed the integer, did the casting at the beginning. I think that's a good move. That's a good move. Or it means that you really understood what we did. Yeah, I realized that most of you didn't cast your area at the end of the day. Let me see. Who casts his or her area? Nobody did any casting to the area. Because the area is now an integer. Do you get it? The area is now an integer. So if you don't cast it, it will not work actually. Please, do you understand? Please, do you understand why if you don't cast the area, you can't concatenate it with the area of rectangle? If you're just printing area, fine, that will work. But in order to give it more meaning, you have to put it with a sentence, right? Area of rectangle is that. And if you do that without casting, it will not work. Let me run it and see. Okay, so that's that.
Rukaya.
Okay, let's go on.
Rukaya.
Now, assuming we wanted to change if let's say it wasn't area, right? And it was a cuboid, okay? A cuboid would have a similar approach, just that you would basically have to add one more variable, right? So instead of height and width, you have height, width, and probably breadth or depth or something like that. That's basically it. Okay, let's try this one too. Where is it? I wrote it somewhere. Okay, let's do this. Okay, so write a program. Let's write a program that will work out the distance traveled if the user enters the speed and the time. This is a pretty simple question. Let me change it a bit, okay? So first of all, write a program that can determine speed, distance, or travel, or time of travel if the user enters any of the other two parameters. Okay, so the question was simple at first. I just changed it up a bit, okay, so that you guys can apply more of the things that you have learned. So write a program that can determine the speed, distance, or time of travel if the user enters any of the other two. So the idea is that if the user wants to find out the speed, then the program should request for what? Distance and time. If the user wants to find out the time, the program should request for what? Distance and speed. If the user wants to find out the distance, then the program should request for what? Speed and the time. The time, the speed, the time at which you want to get there, and the speed at which you want to travel. Then it will determine the distance he needs to travel, right? The time he has, the speed at which he wants to travel will determine the distance he has to what, or the distance he will travel. If he knows the speed at which he can travel and the distance he wants to travel, then it will tell him the time that it will take him to travel that. Okay, so hope you guys know that speed is equal to distance. Hope you guys know that speed is equal to distance over time. Hope we all know that. Okay, so if we all know that, then let's write a program that can do the three things that I've said, depending on what the user wants, right? So here it means you're going to use an if statement. You're going to say that, okay, do you want to find out your speed, your distance, or your time? If the person chooses speed, let it do one thing. If the person chooses time, let it do another thing. If the person chooses distance, let it do what? Another thing. As in, let it produce different results depending on what the person chooses. Please, do we get a question? Hello? Anyone there? Do we understand the question? Our lady, please, do you understand the question? Adeche, Ansela, Divine, St. Teresa's. Please, do you understand the question I've asked? Okay. Okay. Give it some just think about it a little bit and see what you can come up with. Okay, so we are still looking at Ansela's solution. I think that they have something good over there. We are looking at your solution. I think you have something good over there. So far you have said that speed is equal to this, distance is equal to that, time is equal to that. And we have requested the 3 parameters from the user. Now, how do we know if the person wants something in particular? That is what I'm asking. Do you get me? And you said if S is not given, I want to know how you want to represent that syntax-wise. How will you write that as syntax? So you are saying that if S is 20 and T is 10. Okay, but then we don't know the values of S, and 10. Do you understand? Actually, we don't know, sorry, we don't know the values of S and T. So how will we do this? I don't know whether I get what I'm saying, or I don't get you. Help me
Yeah,
out
I
here.
get what you're saying. Probably if you already told like the user to enter the speed all the time, the speed of the time. So probably whatever the user entered, when you like if you take what the user entered, then let's say the user entered 20 for speed and let's say 10 for time. Then you write, then let's say the distance equals to speed times time, and you cast also the user gave, then you print the D. And if the user gave the other one, then you use the else if statement. You need to write the other codes.
Interesting. It sounds practical, but something is missing. Do you have your Tony there? Do you have your ID there?
Yeah.
Can you try it and see? Can you do that? Hello? Did you just disappear or something? Are you gone? Hello?
No. Yeah, you're going to try it and see.
Yeah. Put a solution in your Python, because I'm still a bit lost. But your solution sounds practical, but I'm still a bit lost. Apart from Ansela and Adeche, I haven't heard from anyone else. Our lady, so I'm not hearing from you, crowd. Is Our Lady there? When I say Our Lady, it sounds like something else in my ears. Is Our Lady there?
Hello. Yeah, I'm there, sir.
Okay.
Yes, I like it from breaking.
Do you guys have any suggestions on how we can approach this?
Okay, so then I'll type my suggestion.
Sure. That would be awesome. Okay, our time is almost up, and I'd like for us to solve this question before we leave. So let me show you how I would go about it. But Angela, I'll still like to see how yours panned out. Okay. So I'll keep yours on the screen. Okay, so the way I would solve it is to first of all get to know what the person wants to determine in the first place. I think that's the easiest way that I see it being solved. So Write a program that will determine the distance, the speed, distance, or time if the user enters any of the other two parameters, right? So either I'll ask the person what two parameters he has, or I'll ask the person what does he want to find, right? What does he want to find? And then out of that, I will be able to know how to write my if statement. Get it? So it's similar to what Ansela actually said, but Ansela was doing it the other way around. So I'm curious to know how the syntax she's using for that. So that is basically it. So I could write something like so maybe I'll probably create a variable called choice, and I'll say input so select which parameter to calculate, right? Then I could say speed, distance. How do you do this thing? Right, then as much as possible, when you're writing a program, you want to make it as readable as possible. You get me? As English-wise as possible, so that anyone who the user will understand what is going on. So
Yes.
Then here I could say if, right? If choice is equal to speed, right? Then I'll give it something to do. So I'm going to put pass here. I think I taught you guys about pass. Pass means I'll come back and do whatever I have to do. Else if choice, sorry, the speed is supposed to be a string. So if choice go to speed. And what I'll do is that I will do choice dot lower, right? I hope you understand why I'm doing choice dot lower. So that in case the person mixes capital letters and small letters or uses capital somewhere, it will give me the right answer. So pass choice. Sorry, it's not equal to, I'm making this mistake. It's the same as or similar to. Okay, I'm solving it right now because of time. Okay, so print enter the right choice. So this else that is supposed to be there in case the person doesn't choose any of the above, right? So speed, distance, time. So I'll say enter the right or select the right. Select one of the three, right? And then I can just copy this. Well, yeah, we're there. So over here, in place of the paths, I would then now write what I need to write. So if the person is choosing speed, then I'm going to request for what? Enter your distance. Then input. Don't worry, I can see what I'm doing. Enter your time. I'm not doing it as I should, but I can see. So here I can use the S, and here I can use the T. Then if the person chooses distance, I'll enter the time. And here we can have the person chooses time, we can have distance and then speed. And time. Sorry, in physics, sometimes S is used for distance. That's why I seem to be mixing up the distance, the D, the distance and the S. I'm using them interchangeably. Right, so then you add your, so over here, you add your S, right? It's equal to int of D times int speed, no, sorry, divided by int of T. Then here, I do dt again, distance. So speed. So speed distance. So go to input of T times input of S. Then dst will be now equal to input of D divided by input of S. Yep, yep, yep. I hope my formulas are right. S.
Yeah.
D is equal to. Please check for me if my formulas are right. And S is equal to D over T. Speed is equal to distance over time. Distance is equal to time times speed. And time is equal to distance over speed. Please, am I right?
Yes.
Okay. So then with this, we can easily do print, right? So whatever the person is trying to determine, okay? Whatever the person is trying to determine is what you use for the for your response, okay? So speed, you can have choice, And we can do something like this. Speed is equal to plus already S. Right. So depending on the units, right? So the unit 2 will come in play here, but I'm going to leave that out. Okay. So.
I don't know. You say you leave the units out.
I am leaving the unit out, but add the units because of time. I didn't start with the units. You get it? Because to make it more user friendly, it would be better if you specify the unit here, right? So here something like centimeters per second. Do you get it? So that when the person is entering, he knows what unit he is using, so that he doesn't enter meters per second thinking it's centimeters per second. Please you understand me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me just add it since I'm doing it. Let me do it further. Yeah, meters per second, distance that. Right. So something like this you could do. So speed will be what? Plus cm per second. So I'll copy this. I'll put it here. I'll put it here. Choice plus. So this is not S. This one will be D. Right? I've done this already. This one will be D. So just centimeters. This one will be time. So just seconds. Hey, we are past 11 already. Okay, so I think that let me see. Let's check. This time. Angela, please, were you able to finish your own? I want to see how you guys did it. So if I want to see speed, enter your distance for the time. Speed. Okay. Concatenation, choice. Choice is still a string. I didn't change this. Okay. Looking better now. Okay, speed 1 is. Okay. Hope you guys can see how we did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Angela, please, how did yours turn out? What was the challenge that you faced? Because my thinking was you will face some challenges along the way, and this will be easier.
Yeah, because like the way we started at first, like we didn't really know how to prove before, like how to use like choice and the speed and distance. Because we said earlier, it was you couldn't find a way like put it without getting like syntax error when like you're asking like the if and elif statements and everything.
Yeah, that's true. So that's what I was thinking about, but I wasn't sure how you were going to approach it though. So, but that's fine. Anyway, so guys, well done. We'll continue next week, okay, with more questions, okay? One's more difficult than this. I mean, this wasn't difficult, by the way. So enjoy the rest of your week. I'll see you guys on Thursday, okay? Bye. Please, do you have any questions? I forgot to ask my lead. Please, do you have any questions? Any questions before you go? Okay, no questions. Then I'll see you guys next Thursday. Okay, bye.